The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Get ready to be amazed. Get ready to know things that nobody could know. Get ready for Recovery Wednesday with America's original radio psychic, Dr. Linda Salvin, along with Candy Finnegan from the Emmy Award-winning television show Intervention. Candy brings her more than 30 years of experience dealing with all areas of recovery. Listen as Candy and Dr. Linda bring expert guests into the conversation to bring your recovery to the next level. Together, they bring you the tools and techniques that bring balance and serenity to your life. For nearly 30 years as a syndicated talk show host and metaphysical clinician, Dr. Linda has helped thousands of people worldwide solve problems on the air and in person with her insights and solutions. So pull up a chair, turn it up, and get ready for a visit with the one and only Dr. Linda. And now, live from Los Angeles, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Linda Salvin.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I am Dr. Linda Salvin and the co-host of Recovery Wednesday. My co-host, Candy Finnegan, unfortunately had a medical emergency. She'll be okay, but she was unable to make the show today. So I'm going to wing it by myself, and I'm going to need you to be in the chat and pop up and ask questions so we can get the topic going. The topic today is how the road narrows in sobriety. What does that mean? Well, as you've been watching this for the last couple of months, sobriety, of course, is the state of being sober on an emotional and spiritual level once you've let go of the addiction, whether the substance is alcohol or food, sugar, flour, if it's porn, if it's sex, if it's shopping, if it's gambling, if it's cocaine, if it's pot, if it's whatever, pills, whatever your thing might be that blocks you from your reality, which is your feelings and what life presents on a daily basis. We learn in sobriety how to live on life's terms. So whatever happens, we confront it. That does not mean fear goes away. That does not mean anxiety goes away. That does not mean that we walk on water and fly in the clouds. No, we are very human and very sensitive, but we are given tools in 12-step programs and in treatment centers and in certain community groups on how to best deal with life, whether it's an emotional attack, if it's a disappointment, if it's an award, if it's something to celebrate. You know, we can be happy, sad, glad, blue, whatever, and it's always a reason to eat, drink, celebrate, spend, shop, do something, right? So what we mean when we say that the road gets narrower is that it gets more real. It gets more real. Now, as you know, last week I turned 38 years sober, meaning no drugs, no alcohol, no recreational use for fun, like I did in high school, college, early days of my, I got sober at 31. I'm turning 70 in a couple of months. So yeah, for 38 years, I have not abused my body or a substance, but for the first 19 years of my life, I did. Let me think. I guess I was about 13 when I started smoking cigarettes, 14 when a month before my 15th birthday, I smoked dope. By that spring, I would think I had dropped mescaline, and I played around with Coke. I never liked Coke, but once I got to college, I found the bar scene in San Francisco, which is a bar, and partied like everybody in school or with my friends or whatever. And did I make the right decision when I look back? No. I could have lived in the dorms, but even the dorms were full of pot and booze because that's what college people do. We party. But in retrospect, I am as square, quote unquote, and sober now as I started out when I was, a kid. And I didn't want to be that prude and that square. And you, as well as I know, as we grow up, there's always society's pressures and competition and the bullying. And it's even worse in many ways now with online stuff and the filters where people look prettier, thinner, longer hair, facial features. it's like we're not allowed to just be human. And now with AI, who knows if we're human? You don't know if I'm real or if I'm an AI talking. Oops, talking. No, I'm kidding. That's me. You just don't know who's a robot. You don't know who's a clone. You don't know anything anymore because we live in the digital age, But when I say the road gets narrower, and Candy would agree with me, was she here? And we can touch upon this topic again when she's back. It gets real. So it's harder to lie. It's harder to deny. It's harder to escape. It's harder to run from truth. It really is. It's, for me, it has been easier to apologize. For me, it's been easier to correct what's wrong. For me, it's easier, not less painful, but easier to walk away from a negative situation where I'm not getting my needs met, or I'm not being heard, or I'm not being understood. We have choices. I was a big people pleaser. I was the hero of the family. I've got 2 younger sisters, and there was always chaos. And I've mentioned on the show, and I'm not afraid to admit it, there were 3 suicides in my mom's family. So there was depression all the time. And my grandmother lost her whole family in the concentration camps. So, I come from pain. When my grandfather died, I was 2.5. And I remember that loss. I remember the vacuum. I remember the emptiness. And I would always go searching, where is he? Where is he? And I was too young to understand that he committed suicide. And it wasn't until I was 16 that I learned he died of an overdose, not a heart attack, because they were protecting me. My parents and my grandmother and my aunt and uncle were all protecting me from the truth of the suicide as a child, to not confuse me any more than I was confused. It's a loss is a loss. I was realizing today, it's about 19 months since I lost my dog. I put her down, and I think today's one of the first days I'm really not grieving. I'm not in pain. I'm not hurting. It takes time to heal. We spend years abusing our body. We spend years lying, denying, running, cheating, lying, stealing, whatever we do as people. It's not fixed overnight. It's a process. Healing is a process. Healing goes within. Healing takes all the fragments. Healing gets the mind, body, spirit in touch with your own truth. Nobody will really ever know who you are any more than you'll really know who I am. I can tell you my characteristics. I can tell you my defaults. I can tell you my interests. I can tell you my creative pursuits. I can tell you my passions, and you still won't know what makes me tick. Although, I have a passion for metaphysics. I have a definite passion and love for God, especially after surviving a plane crash, getting hit by a fire truck, totaling a car, and having the near-death out-of-body white light experiences in the 80s when all my friends were becoming yuppies and building careers and buying houses and starting families. That's not my path. It started that way, and then I got off into another world. And after 30 years of radio and broadcasting and helping people spiritually and psychically along the way, I also decided to, what came first actually was, radio came in 90. No, I'm sorry. There's so much. I got sober in 85, but radio came in 94 with the plane crash, fire truck, and totaling the car was 81, 82, 84. Then I got sober in 85, and it's kind of like God was knocking on my head, like, hello, wake up, you're going in a different direction. During that time, I had done stand-up comedy. I was offered a record deal. Things were there. Misty, most people don't know themselves, or they do know themselves. They don't want to tell the truth about themselves. They want to look good, feel good, act good. That's why everybody buys flashy cars and clothes and purses and shoes and makeup and hairstyles and everything that has to look it on the wall on a piece of paper, but they're hurting on the inside. Our goal is to help the insides feel good so you look even better on the outside and bring it together. Yeah, fame and fortune for a lot of people. If you read about celebrities, a lot of them come from broken homes, alcoholic homes, abandonment, abuse, and a lot of times the stage or the spotlight supposedly replaces that painful upbringing or disappointment or whatever they were chasing or running from, they find it in the limelight. But then when they're off camera, they still have to go home. They still have to eat dinner. They still have to tend to the children or pay bills or fill the car up with gas. Not everybody has a butler. Not everybody has somebody to run errands for them. Most people I know don't. I do know a few of my clients that have that luxury because I've got the money to do it. But they are my clients. Listen carefully. I just said my clients. I have some Hollywood royalty clients. I've dealt with some of the people in Washington, D.C., politicians. It looks great on the outside, yeah, but when I get to hear their personal pain or problems or disappointments or insecurities, or a rabbi came to me wanting to have an affair with this woman and he had 6 kids. I mean, people are people. Just because the rabbi, the man of cloth, is supposed to be more secure within himself and not do wrong, he came to me as a psychic asking permission to have an affair. It's like, you're the rabbi. You deal with your own God. I can only direct and suggest. My job is not to demand. I can show a flashlight on the road. So when you're in recovery from abuse, substances, neglect, self-destruction, it's all the same. But as you heal and as you get stronger, that road gets narrower, your friends change, your environment changes. You might even change the colors of your home because it'll vibrate differently. A lot of people might just be in a very nondescript element and don't care about monotones like all whites or all beige or all gray. Me, I've got rust and purple and lavender and yellow and turquoise and royal blue. You can see behind me, I've got purples and blues. Most of my home deal with those colors. That's on that art piece. Let's see if you can see it. It's a big piece of art up there. You can see art up in here. Things that have been given to me in the pink up at the top, which you can barely see, is my mom and grandfather and grandmother, my aunt and uncle. When I was like 1 year old or 9 months, my dad took a photo. They're all gone. The whole family's dead. My dad's 94. He's still here. I have 2 sisters. They're still here, but the rest of us were gone. We were a small family to begin with because most of the relatives were killed in the camps, as I said. So there's grief. I grew up with depression. I grew up with sadness. I grew up with opportunities to go to camp and take guitar lessons and, get a car and a phone and all that. Yes, I was spoiled, but I also had to learn the value of money. I had to learn the value of friends. I had to learn the value of my parents. I had to learn the value of love. I had to learn the value of myself. And after all the self-destruction I did to fit in school, in high school, because I was bullied so much in junior high and grammar school, I wanted to be different so that they would like me. Well, now I don't even think about them. It'll flash through my mind, but it's not like I have anything to prove. I prove to myself. You don't have anything to prove to anybody. It's you. The world doesn't care if you do something or not. If you want to contribute, that's your passion, that's your goal, then publish a book or write a song or go help the community pack food or donate something to go through the war. Do something that makes you feel good. You don't have to do something to impress somebody, because after you show up for 5 minutes or 3 hours at an event, you think they're going to go home and start saying, oh, Susie was there and she did this and she did that. Yeah, you get talked about for about 5 minutes and they move on with their own life. Do what's right for you. And that's where the road gets narrower also, because we start out wanting acceptance. We start out pleasing everybody. We start out wanting everybody to love us, cherish us, pamper us, praise us, right? We all want it. I want it for the show. I don't know if you like the show. I don't know. I don't get, wow, you did such a great job. Although yesterday I did get an email from somebody that really loved what was going on. And I'm going to reach back out to her for some of the situations she posted an email. And that's what I've been doing this for 30 years. I thrive on helping people. I thrive in my career. If I had more time in front of me, I'd probably go back to get a law degree, but I'm not going to do that now because I love law. but I don't like the legalese. So I'll stick to helping people on a spiritual level because I love watching people open up like a little flower, plant a seed, and all of a sudden the light turns on and blossoms start. My book's almost ready to publish, and I've been collecting a lot of the photographs that I've had stored for 20, 30 years and all the testimonies and the thank you cards. And I have boxes and boxes and boxes. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying what I'm sifting through that I've been holding on to for 30 years to, that's what age do people start? That's an independent situation. Some people never do country, but they should learn as a child to start loving themselves. But most people don't teach because most parents don't know. But the sooner you open up that vessel and you start to let the light in, the happier you're going to be for the rest of your life, however much time we have. Nobody knows how long we have to live. But going through all the photographs that are going to be published in the book, of which people whose loved ones I channeled at one point, and then they sent emails and confirmation and pictures of their loved ones. It brought back a lot of memories, and I'm very grateful that I was given the gift to help so much. I don't do that anymore. I look back, I think, how did I even do that back then? But that's what I did 20, 30 years ago. I'm different now. I'm more into healing the person. I'm more into integrative health. I'm more into promoting sobriety. I'm more into promoting certain health products to integrate nutritionally so that our cellular structure and our organs work better, that we detox from what's not healthy. As I've been talking on one of the other shows, glyphosate is the main toxin, which is, the Roundup poison that's in the food. It's on the food. It's in the food. They're inoculating the animals with it, and we're ingesting poison. They want cancer. They want us to be more dependent on medicine. But there's also ways to stay healthier and try to stay out of that wheel, because you don't want to be sick. You don't want to be dependent. You want to be strong. I'm not saying you don't need medication. Do not get me wrong. That is the furthest thing. I've had medication on up through my whole life. Thank God. I think sometimes it's over prescribed. When I was towards the end of my mother's life in 2009, and I looked at all the medication she was taking. I said to her one day, I said, why are you taking all this? She said, it's keeping me alive. No, I think it's what killed her. It was too much, and she wasn't being monitored properly. And when I went to clean it all out, I was shocked at the different types of medicines that were prescribed from different doctors. And I'm not a pharmacist or a pharmacologist, so I'm not one to say that this one interfered with that one and caused some other problem. But if I looked at that whole, she had her own pharmacy going, and it was sad to me. I still think about it, and I feel sorry for what my mother went through. But it's not just my mom. It's people maybe yourself. I know that I was prescribed many medications at one point to fix certain things within me that I thought needed fixing, and after a while, the meds didn't work or did work. And I weaned myself off certain medications to the point I take one now, plus a pharmaceutical vitamin D, because I still have a vitamin D issue. Even though I take the vitamin D with the nutrition, for some reason I needed a little bit more according to my blood tests. My blood tests show that I'm in normal, if not below, danger ranges within my lipids or my cholesterol or my cardiovascular issues, because I'm willing to take care of myself, taking different products to detox, like I talked on the other show, detox the parasites in the gut, detox the glyphosates and other toxins in our body from the food and the elements in the air. Even our detergent that we wash our clothes in absorbs chemicals, which absorbs into the skin. Shampoo, you don't know what's really being put on your head that's being absorbed in your hair and going into your scalp and into your skin that can still cause an illness. They don't talk about environmental issues because most people aren't trained to understand it. My background in epidemiology, environmental health, and industrial hygiene, I understand it. But on a layman's term, I'm here to just help you see there's a lot of elements out there that aren't healthy, that we take for granted, and we're not really aware of what's in it that can poison us or over time cause cancer or over time maybe cause tumors or different types of growths, or slow down a certain system where we have problems, or what causes a kidney stone, or what causes a thyroid problem, or what causes eye problems, or what causes hearing problems. I don't know. But I know certain things or factors around me have added to some of my issues in the past. So where does the road get narrower? The road gets narrower as I get out of the way and I take away what I think is supposed to be helping me, but I may not be feeling that. Or I stay sober, or I talk to people in my community, or I reach out to certain people and I tell the truth, or I ask for help. There were days, years, I should say years, I would never ask anybody for help. I could do it myself. I was too afraid. If you knew I needed help, or I was confused, or I was hurting, or I was in pain, you wouldn't be there for me. And we all have those fears. We all question, who can we trust? You know, even going to the dentist. I had a horrible experience a few years ago. I went to 7 different dentists. And even at UCLA, I don't mind busting them, because I ended up calling the dean of the school and got my money back because they messed with me, didn't do the job, charged an arm and a leg, and I knew I was right. And I am one to rattle a cage until I get my way when I know I'm right. So no, it's not pride getting in the way. No, it was fear. But for me, it could be for other people, of course, it could be pride, false evidence appearing real. You don't know what fear is, all of us, but pride is an individual situation. But as far as like having dental work done, you don't know who to trust. And then finally, after going around to 7 different dentists for my issue, I asked somebody I would normally not ask for help or a referral. And I got the referral from his dentist because of the amazing work this guy had done on his mouth. I went to this dentist, and in 2 weeks, the problem was solved. So eventually, by asking for help, even though you're asking a ton of people, you may not find what's the fit for you. You got to find the pieces of the puzzle. So like a chain link fence, everything connects. Most of us are fragmented. Most of us are in the past, which is the anxiety, and then you got the future, which is the fear. But when you're in the moment, we're okay. So again, the road gets narrower. How does that road get narrower? Stop looking backwards, stop worrying about tomorrow, and know we're okay right now here. If you're listening to the show live, it's 1:22 p.m. Pacific time, and it's 4:22 Eastern time, and any other hour around the world if you're watching or listening. And then when you download, it'll be whatever time it is you're downloading. But that's your moment. There's no pain in the moment. Right now, it's quiet. That's the moment. Nothing else matters but the moment. It's the chatter in our head. As the road gets narrower, that chatter calms down. As the road gets narrower, we learn how to become better people, to be of service, to not reach for a drug, a drink, the food, the videos, the porn, the shopping, the gambling, whatever, to escape. Escapism is huge. We all want to escape. Life hurts. Life is full of joy. I have a couple of awards back there. There's that big one with the microphone that you can see, and then there's a couple others. And when I was given those awards in radio many years ago, I was full of joy. Like, wow, I was acknowledged for my work. But that was, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago. Doesn't mean it's happening now, but it sits there. Nobody cares. It's just part of my repertoire. This thing back here, down here, the Starlight Cafe was made for me when I started radio in 1994. One of my listeners owned a T-shirt shop, and they made T-shirts of Dr. Linda, or I wasn't Dr. Linda, I was the Linda Salvin Starlight Cafe, and that was the logo. So I kept it all these years because that's when I started radio in 1994, and people who were listening would contribute to the show. And again, the road got narrower. AM, FM radio isn't the same. Cable radio is not the same. Everything's online now. It's not the same. I have to adjust to the road getting narrower, to what I'm dealing with in the moment now. So it's not just about getting the narrower road in sobriety. But because this particular show is about recovery, and we're all recovering from something, as Candy would say, what are you recovering from? Text or say something in the chat. What are you trying to overcome in your own life? Is it grief? Is it guilt? Is it shame? Is it substance abuse? Is it food? Is it drinking? Is it compulsive sex? Is it gambling? Is it denial? Is it laziness? Is it lies? Is it smoking? Here's a good one. So if you're trying to get over smoking, smoking is probably one of the most addictive and most difficult substances to quit. I smoked on and off for 34 years, and it is a horrible, horrible addiction to break. When I finally broke it in 2001, it was my 47th birthday. No. Was that when it was? Must have been 2000. Maybe 2000. No, it must have been 2001. It was, because I moved later on that year. But my niece at the time had said, it was New Year's Day. She came over. I think she was 4 at the time. She said to my sister, how come Auntie Linda's skin smells like her house? And that was the last straw. It's like, oh my God, even a little kid can smell it. So there were herbs on the market back then that do not exist today that help detox the body of the nicotine and all of the chemicals. And within a week, you wouldn't be smoking. So I got a bunch of food and distilled water, and I locked myself up in my little house. And for 3 days, I went through a detox watching Lifetime movies and did not smoke. I had my last cigarette on my 47th birthday, which was a Friday, and I haven't smoked since. But smoking is not just getting the inhalation into the lungs. You're dealing with strychnine, you're dealing with tobacco, you're dealing with nicotine and all the other chemicals, plus you're dealing with sugar on the filters. So you're addicted to a lot of different substances. Then there's the hand-to-mouth motion. So every time something goes wrong, you want to grab a cigarette, you're watching TV, you're watching a show, you're in the car, you're on the phone. You got to always light up. You know, you got to always grab from that pack and have the cigarette. There's the chain smokers that are lighting one cigarette once they're putting out the next. You know those people as well. And there are people that can have 1 or 2 a day and they're done. They had just enough nicotine to get them a buzz. But the average smoker is probably 1 to 2 packs a day. I know I was in college, I'd smoke all the time because of the anxiety, but I also took diet pills to keep me up. And I would drink on Thursdays and Saturdays like everybody else and party, because that's what we did back in the 70s. That's over 45 years ago for me. But if you're trying to stop smoking now, you have to ask yourself if you want to stop, not quit. Stop. Big difference. Oh, I quit smoking. Okay, but then you go back to it. Yeah, well, I'll quit again. No, you won't. No, you won't. That's your denial. That's your fear. If you really want to stop smoking, there are ways to detox and stop smoking. And then that's where the road gets narrower. Every time the anxiety hits or the hunger hits or an emotion hits or a thought hits or a memory hits, and you want to grab that cigarette, you got to go through that motion of like, don't pick up that cigarette for 5 minutes. Then 10 minutes. Sometimes a day will seem like an eternity to get through the day without using, drinking, eating, smoking, toking, whatever your thing is. You detox, you change behavior, and that road will get narrower so that, like, if I'm walking in a mall, for example, with some friends, and somebody's either smoking pot or smoking a pipe, a cigar, or some cigarettes, I start coughing because I'm so clean inside. I inhale it and I don't want that in me. And I think, gosh, I did that all the time when I was younger. You know, poor me, how I destroyed little me and how I was intoxicating. But back in the 60s and 70s, that was the thing to do. Then health awareness became the cool thing. So then they started saying you can't smoke indoors. And now they have designated areas to smoke because that's one way to get people to stop smoking. A pack of cigarettes when I started, I think it was like 29 cents. And now they're what, $8-10 for a pack? No. So even though the price goes up and you have no money or you don't have a job, there's always money for alcohol and cigarettes, right? No matter what you're going through, you still have money to buy your stuff or your pot or your heroin or whatever. You don't have to. There is an easier, softer way to live life, and that's where the road gets narrower. But you want to be willing to ask yourself, is it worth it to self-destruct? Or is it going to be worth walking through the fear to get closer to what it is you really want, which is a healthy mind and a stronger body so that you can live a longer and healthier life? That's the question. It's not up to me. All I can do is spread the message of having been through a lot and earning degrees and going to school and building a practice and working with people for 35 years. Well, being a people pleaser is because there's something inside yourself that you're trying to fix first. And I have tools. If you call me off the air and finally have a session with me, a lot of the questions you pose will have answers. But you're looking to fix everybody because it's filling up a void inside you, Misty, that didn't get filled up at home a lot of the times. A lot of the times we, especially addictive personalities, have like a dark hole. Nothing fills us up. People pleasing, fixing people, smoking, drinking, eating. There's a momentary release, but all the people you try to fix, you think they come back, oh, Misty, thank you. You made my day. I can't live without you. And or they'll thank you. Then they're going to want more. Then they start depending on you, but for the wrong reasons. Then you get tired because you feel like you're being abused and used or misunderstood. And who's there for you when you need them? And you got to back it up. Put your boundaries up. You don't have to fix everybody. They're adults, maybe the kids and need some assistance, but they're adults. And if you back up, Misty, and all of a sudden you're not giving to them, two things happen. They start questioning why or what's in it for me, or if anything's wrong with you, or they leave your life altogether because you're not there for them. You don't have to be the big nipple to the world. That's my phrase I've used for years because everybody wanted a piece of me like I was their mother. And no, there's boundaries. Yeah, I have advice. Yes, it's my career. Yes, I see things. Yes, I'm psychic. Yeah. But I learned that wasn't the way I was going to make my friends, or I learned, oh gosh, I must have been 24, 25, somewhere in there, where I was in the people-pleasing thing, and I was really needy. I was going through a very difficult time. I think it was also when I stopped taking the amphetamines. It all hit around the same time. And coming off drugs and the pains of an addict are horrible. The confusion, the pain, which is why they say the road gets narrower, because once you go through the detox of not people-pleasing or fixing people or smoking or abusing a substance, you got to go through the hallway of change. You're over here using, drinking, fixing. You go through here where you stop. Then you're on this side, and all of a sudden the blinders are off, and life shows different colors in the wheel. You got to go through the process to heal. You have to. You can't go from here to there without doing the work on the inside. And it's not always pretty. Or you may remember something I don't know, maybe didn't think of for 35 years and a little memory pops up. Or like me going through all these boxes of photos and emails that the editor wants from me. It's like, oh my God, I forgot about this lady. I don't even know if this email's any good, or I don't know if that address is still good. Maybe I'll drop a line. How are you after 30 years? You know, it's bringing up a lot of emotion for me. But it's culminating into the book because I'm at the end of that part of my career and I'm ready to tell the story because I'm closing that chapter. Finally, the 30 years of work is coming to an end. Just like fixing people for you, Misty, might be coming to an end. Or smoking for you, country, might be coming to an end. So we live in chapters. We also live in portals. This really isn't the show to talk about portals, but I'm going to do it anyway. A portal is a 7-year cycle. We go from 0 to 7, 7 to 14, 14 to 21, 21 to 28, 28 to 35, 35 to 42, 42 to 49, 49 to 56, 56 to 63, 63 to 70, 70, 77, and onward. So every 7 years, our life changes. But as you go up each step, think of each step, 7 steps, we go through different portions of that chapter. And you get to the top of one rung, so you're 7. Oh, now you go from 7 to 14, so you do that. Or now, like, I'm in the 63 to 70. Because I'm turning 70 in January. This is October. And it's like, I remember teaching this when I was 38. And I thought, well, down the road, this happens, that happens. You go through Saturn return and all the portals and blah. I used to teach all this in lectures and radio and privates. And here I am. Oh my God, I'm coming out of another 7-year cycle. It goes so fast. So where are you? What cycles are you in? Find your 7-year cycle. Tell me how old you are, and I'll tell you what's going on in your own world at the moment. If you're 43, if you're 27, if you're 91, I don't know. It doesn't matter, because wherever you are in the portal, you're learning something. The question is, how much more do you want? How much do you want to change? You want to just sit home, watch videos and YouTube all day long without taking the action? Or do you want to absorb the information and apply it? Maybe just one day you won't help the neighbor, or you won't help the friend in need that's so codependent on you, Misty, or you won't feel the need to fix everybody to fix you. So when you back it up a little bit and you bring in your own little boundary, or a country, if you're smoking like I would, I'd smoke all the time on the phone, in the bathroom, before I went to sleep. I remember one time, I think my cat, when I had a cat, nudged me and woke me up because I almost fell asleep with a cigarette in my hand as I was falling asleep watching TV. And that's, of course, dangerous. Getting close to your next cycle, do you see things changing? How do we have the same steps? We don't have the same steps. It's every 7 years. You didn't answer my question, like, how old are you? And I'll tell you where you are in your cycle. This isn't the show I do psychic predictions. This is the show on recovery. The predictions are tomorrow. And tomorrow's show, by the way, on Starlight Cafe, I have a girl named Shirley coming on. Shirley Wu was my very first radio customer or client or caller when I started radio in 1994. And she has been with me since that first night on the radio on KBIG 104 FM here in Los Angeles. Unbelievable. So for 30 years, we've been friends. We've gone through life together, and you're going to see her tell her story tomorrow on the Thursday show, Starlight Cafe. It's really a lot of fun. So, life's a journey. There's no perfection. She's traveled around the world. She got married. I said, don't marry this guy, and you're going to get divorced. And she got divorced. She'll tell you her story tomorrow. She's got 2 great kids that are doing amazing. I watched her give birth. Well, not quite watch her, but I mean, I knew when she got pregnant, when the kids were born, and how they were raised. I met them a few times, and now one's married, and the other's finished school. I mean, it's just fun to watch people's lives change and grow. It's the same with you. We all have touchstones of our lives. So here, country, you're 57, so you're in the new 56 to 63 pattern. You're one step or 1 year into change. So if you're smoking, make it a goal that by the time you're 63, in the next 6 years, you don't want to smoke. Maybe you want to use this platform or step to make your own world a little more narrow. Save those hundreds of dollars a month by not buying cigarettes. Improve your health. Remember what I've said. My pulmonary specialist, who's a very well-known lung doctor, said it takes 18 years for the lungs to be cleared of all smoke, nicotine, tobacco, and all the other chemicals, the strychnine, all the poisons that we're inhaling, pot included, for our lungs to regenerate. 18 years without anything going into our lungs to be healthy. So if you stop smoking now at 57, that by the time you're 75 years old, your lungs will be totally clear and you'll be healthier. What happens when we stop smoking or drinking or eating sugar or carbs that we find addictive or some behavior, and we go for a long period of time, which is called an abstinence or sobriety or whatever it might be called, to withhold the behavior, once you reintroduce it, the addiction comes back even stronger. When I was in the plane crash, I had stopped smoking at age 24, I think. And then at 27, when I was on the field, somebody came running after me and asked if I was okay. And before I got to the paramedic station, he asked if I wanted a cigarette because I was kind of numb. I said, yeah. And I started smoking again. But I started smoking even more from 27 to whatever. And then I think I stopped one more time. And then I finally did quit and stop at age 47. So I smoked for 34 years, but it's trying to fill up. So you're in 56 to 63. What would you like to accomplish? Is it more money? Is it a career? Do you want to improve your health? You want to stop smoking? You want to start saving money? You want to improve your lung function? You want to enhance your breathing? You want to not smell like cigarettes and smoke on your clothes and your hair and your skin? You want to not have to worry about ashtrays and fires? That's a question you ask. So you're at the very beginning of a 7-year cycle. This is the time frame for you to decide, maybe I'll make a change. Maybe I can stop. Maybe I can be hypnotized. Maybe I can get the herbs to detox. Maybe I can call Dr. Linda and get more tips. Maybe I have faith that if I just join a Stop Smoking program, there's Smokers Anonymous. Check it out. It's free. It's online. It's in person, all over the world. The option is there for each and every one of you for help. You stay in a rut because you're not willing to change and do the work. We can all get off the hamster wheel. We go around and round and round and round and round thinking the people don't change, the job doesn't change, the money doesn't change. How come they can drive a Lamborghini and I don't? How come they can buy a 10,000 square foot home and I can't? How come he got married to her and not me? How come she married him and had 3 kids and I wasn't allowed to have kids? Why? Well, why not? Because God, the big thing in the sky that directs all our lives, has a plan for each of us. You want to stop smoking? I can give you direction. So can 12-step programs. You want to stop being the people pleaser? There's also a program for that, Misty. That's called Al-Anon. Look it up. It's free. There's a solution for everything. We all have an ism. I, self, me. All of us. There's not a person on the planet. Clones and all. But it's just, how much do you want to change? It's hard to change behavior. It's real hard to adapt to something new. It's really hard to stop because that fear takes over. We don't know what it's going to be like without it or how to do it. I think the first time I went to a rock concert, straight, not smoking dope, when I actually heard the music and I was looking around, and usually when you're high and everything, all the lights are shining and people are talking and yelling and screaming, the music's blaring off the speakers. But when you go straight and then you hear the real music and you see the work going on in the art, or you see the people working at the concession stands, or you see the ticket takers, or however we're being greeted by security, all of a sudden, rather than fearing or just maybe not acknowledging, the blinders come off and you see what you've been hiding behind: smoke, drink, food, whatever. And that's, again, is how the road gets narrower, because the colors change. We lighten up. We let go of the baggage. That's why it's called lightening up. You let go and lighten up. It's simple, but complex. I'm not a Buddha. I have studied Buddhism. Buddha was an image, not a human. That was an icon in the Asian countries. I have been to Thailand and Japan. I have seen the Buddhist temples. I have spoken with Buddhas who are the monks. I have seen some of the most gorgeous temples in the world over there. And I have felt the energy. But it doesn't mean I'm going to commit my life to that. It's just one more spiritual aspect of life out there. So who's to say God over here in this religion and a Buddha over there in that religion, or the Quran versus the Bible versus the Torah? I mean, it makes me nuts, because we all have an opinion, and you take it away, especially with what's going on in the world today. It's so sad, all the innocent people losing their lives because somebody else is angry at a religion or color of the skin or the upbringing. We are innocent. We, as a people, are victims of a small group of people's greed and anger and ruthlessness and barbaric behavior. We can't fix all that. You can pray to God, please make the war stop. Please don't shell. Please don't do this. Please don't do that. I feel sorry for the animals. The animals can't stand the noise. The animals are more afraid. The animals are abandoned. The animals are killed. Yes, we're losing people daily. What about the animals? They're living. What about the plants that aren't getting watered? What if you were writing a book or painting something, or the baby was just born, or you were getting ready for a vacation, or you just started a new business, whatever's going on in your life, and all of a sudden it's taken away because your place was bombed? I try to picture myself in that situation. I wouldn't know what to do. But I do know what to do right now when I'm in the now, and I don't have to worry about that fear for the moment, because where I am in Los Angeles for today, I'm safe, and where you are in the United States, we're safe. You want to start changing your behavior around people? There are programs. You want to start changing your behavior with substances like drinking or smoking cigarettes? There's programs. There's opportunity. There's people like Candy that have private sessions. There's people like me that give you private sessions, and we go over I assess people in the 30, 40, or 60-minute sessions. I figure out a little bit about you, and then I have the answers. I'm very razor sharp. When I hear your voice, it just comes out of me, and that's my gift as a medium, as a channel, as a healer, as a psychic, as a metaphysician, as an epidemiologist, a health educator. I've done all of it, but I brought it all together to create what I do now to help you. You want to change behavior, trying to get off the hamster wheel and helping people or fixing people, Misty? Then email me, drlinda@lindasalvin.com. Same thing with you, country. You want to really understand? Send me an email. I respond to everybody. The question is, how much do you want it? We stay in denial. We stay in fear. What if? What if you do feel better? What if you are happy? What if you save an extra $500 a month? What if that person's no longer your friend? Was it really your friend to begin with? What if you never meet someone new? You will meet somebody new. There's always something new. It's not going to happen if you stay in the house. You got to get out. You got to be presentable. You want to wash your hair, put on some clean clothes, of course. The choice is yours. And where does that choice come from? When the road gets narrower, is it odd or is it God? Like someone once said to me, Linda, if you can't trust me, trust God. If you can't trust God, trust me. And I always bring it back to the spirit. People say, well, why is God allowing all this to happen in the world? God doesn't create war. Man does. God's will is for peace. Man's will is war, terror, death, anxiety, addiction, greed. That's not God's will. God's butterflies and skies and trees and peace and communication and passion and love and sex and great food and friendship, unconditional, learning how to communicate, learning how to succeed, learning how to become independent. Somebody once told me when I was learning about all this, they said, the more you depend on God, the more independent you'll become. And I couldn't understand that. That would be a good one for you, Misty. You don't have to fix them. The more you become spiritually dependent, the less you're going to need to fix them, because you're going to fill up. Same thing with you, country. You can fill up with spirit, where you won't need the smoke and the toxicity and the nicotine to fill you up. There's other things to fill us up. Look at colors. Get grateful. Make a grateful list. What are you grateful for today? What are you grateful for? Take 3 things you're grateful for. And just write, I'm grateful for 1, I'm grateful for 2, I'm grateful for 3. One of them should be for you. I'm grateful I have money to buy cigarettes. I'm grateful I have people to fix. Now back it up. What do you want to do to change that? So maybe in 6 months, each of you will come back and say, I no longer fix, I no longer smoke, I no longer this. Who knows? That's the beauty of watching people change. Misty, next time, let me know where you are age-wise, and I'll tell you where you are in your 7-year cycle. But you just came out of your second Saturn return, country, because Saturn return hits from 54 to 56, as well as 28 to 30. It hits every 29 years, 28 years. The planet Saturn goes around Earth, and we go through a lot of change. So you're now getting stable as to where you're headed, 57 to 63. Mickey, email me and I'll tell you the makeup I use. A girl that used to work for me started her own line. That's one of the products I use, and something I use through the company that makes the DNA nutrition. They have a serum that's DNA based, and it's like stem cell, and it has cleared up my skin so well that you just put a little dab on each night and thank you. Yeah, I'm very fortunate. I'm grateful for my skin. I'm grateful for you guys participating, and I'll be even more grateful if you come back tomorrow when I got Shirley on the show with me and we talk about Shirley's experience of being with me for 30 years since we met on the radio. So it's the end of the show today, but remember, the road gets narrower when you take action to change who you are, so everything out there can be better suited for you, and you'll figure out where you belong, and you'll get on your journey without as many obstacles. Until tomorrow or the next time we meet, I'm Dr. Linda. You can email me at drlinda@lindasalvin.com or go to lindasalvin.com. Talk to you soon. 43, so you're in 42 to 49. Let's pick it up next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Take care. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed Recovery Wednesday. You can reach Dr. Linda at 888-509-1077 or at lindasalvin.com and Candy Finnegan at candyfinnegan@aol.com. Need a breakthrough of your own? Ready for answers or insights nobody else has? Reserve your own one-on-one in-person chat. Dr. Linda isn't just for other people. Dr. Linda gets results for you. And it's easy. Contact details are on screen now. Just click on lindasalvin.com or call toll-free 888-509-1077. That's lindasalvin.com or toll-free at 888-509-1077.